Hi, I'm Nomi. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, I'm going to recommend that you go back and watch the first two videos on my channel or you won't really know what's going on. I'm an indie author from Canada and I'm writing a series of novels called Passions. It's a paranormal soap opera, which might sound familiar to you. Yes, my book series is based on the NBC soap opera Passions that ran from 1999 to 2008. But more specifically, it's based on a SIMS story that I wrote based on Passion called Intense Feelings. Intense Feelings is now the first book in the series, but there wouldn't be a novel series without The Sims. So for my returning viewers, you know what's up. This is episode 2 of the Sims version of Intense Feelings. So as you can see, as I mentioned in my last video, Leaf's house is very modest. That is his pickup truck in the driveway, which he shares with Jay and Nina. Anyway, the episode starts with Harlow coming to visit Nina. Much to her chagrin, a shirtless Jay answers the door. He's very casual and just asks, "Oh, are you guys going out?" Harlow is enraged. She says, "Yeah. Look, can you at least put on a freaking shirt when you answer the door? I know it's a shock to your ego, but not everyone wants to stare at your half-naked body in the middle of the day." To which Jay says, "Pleasure as always, Har," and then he calls for Nina. The girls head downtown to pick out outfits to wear on Halloween. Harlow suggests they go to Klaus Austerlitz, which is apparently the very famous department store of the town. I definitely changed the name of this in the books. But as they're walking into Klaus Austerlitz, who do they see but Charlotte Ainsworth? She approaches them and asks them about school and how their lives are going in general. She just says, it's been such a long time, like we should catch up. Nina's confused. Just as confused as her brother was at the pub, but she's much nicer about it. Now, if you watched my first video, you're going to know why this is relevant, but as the reader, you wouldn't know at this point. But Harlow starts asking questions about Devlin because they had a secret affair before he went to Europe. Shh. Back in the pilot episode, I had been saying that Devlin had been gone for 4 years because that's how long it had been in the books, which is what I'm more familiar with at this point. But it says here that he's actually only been gone for 2 years. So just disregard the 4-year comment. It's in this world, he's only been gone for 2 years, apparently. So the girls are shopping and chatting and just randomly hanging out with Charlotte Ainsworth. And it says, Nina let out an exasperated sigh. In school, Charlotte had barely spoken 2 words to either herself or Harlow. She mostly lurked around behind Devlin, doing whatever he told her to do, and crying all the time. Nina had often felt sorry for her, but then again, Charlotte had never really been a very pleasant person. Until today, apparently. So that's a little different from the books as well, obviously, because in the books, Charlotte and Nina often thought they could have been friends if it wasn't for the feud. So it's a little different in the original. Then Harlow asks Charlotte what she was doing here at the Klaus Austerlitz, and Charlotte says she's looking for a dress for Halloween, and then asks the girls, "Hey, what are you guys doing for Halloween?" Harlow's like, I don't really want to tell her because then she's probably going to tag along with us, and that's going to be so weird. Like, right now is so weird too. But Nina just says, "Oh, we're going back to the pub." Then Charlotte says, "Oh, that's nice, but if you have nothing better to do, come to my party." Yes. In the original version, it was not Charlotte's birthday party. It was a Halloween party she was throwing. In the book, I made it her birthday party because of the timeline. I wanted it to start later in the year, closer to Christmas. I didn't want to have to fill such a big gap from Halloween to Christmas, so I just changed it for the novel. So the girls are panicking and they're just like, what do we do? Harlow suggests, it's probably better to keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Maybe we should just go. Then Charlotte helps them pick out dresses for her party and she's just being really nice and friendly, and both girls are super weirded out by this. But in this version, Nina's really a tomboy and she picks out a pair of jeans and a t-shirt to wear to the party, to which Harlow and Charlotte are like, girl. So Harlow is really kind of grilling Charlotte just lightly, but she's really pushing into her, being like, what is going on? Like, why are you inviting us to your party? But she's being really subtle about it. And Charlotte comes back to her and says, "Look, I've done a lot of things I'm not proud of, and I hope you can forgive me and we can just water under the bridge and move on from here." Harlow's like, "It's a little bit hard to forgive and forget, especially the stuff that Devlin did." To which Charlotte is like, "I know, he did do some really horrible things." Honestly, I don't know what the horrible things are that he did. So we're on this journey together, me and you, man. I don't know what's what that backstory was, we'll find out. Charlotte goes on to say that she has this inexplicable bond with her brother, and no matter what he's done, she just has to stay like his best friend, and he's all she has, really. So that kind of makes Harlow start feeling a little bit bad, and she's like, it's true, really. She only has Devlin, and he's been gone for 2 years. So maybe this is genuine. Maybe she just really wants us to come to her party because she's lonely. Nina picks a new outfit, which is still pants, but at least they're leather and some kind of corset situation going on. And sure. I'm sorry, I have to read this one sentence. Harlow smiled at Charlotte. No one else would have been able to force Nina into that garb. It's amazing to, as an author, really see your growth like right in your face like this, like to look back at the way you used to write 15 years ago. So Harlow at this point is pretty convinced that Charlotte's trustworthy, and even Nina's starting to think, well, this is nice. Like maybe we can just bury the hatchet. Now I'm going to introduce you to the most important characters in this story. Tyler's fish. Tyler was at home feeding his fish. We stand the fish on this channel. Nina lets herself in and she's like, hey, bestie. Tyler's like, oh, hi, Nina. Did you come to see me? Nina's like, oh, actually, no. Blake and I have a dinner date tonight. He's going to make me spaghetti. And Tyler's like, oh, Blake's not home, though. Nina's like, oh, yeah, he hasn't been answering my texts all day. That's why I just came over. So Tyler's like, well, let's just get things started without him. Now, he knows Blake's gone out for the evening, but he doesn't know where he is, and he doesn't want to tell that to Nina. So Nina's like, okay, I guess I can have spaghetti with my best friend instead of my boyfriend. Who cares? And Tyler's like, yeah, just forget about Blake. Don't think about Blake. Let's go. Let's go, me and you. Come on. Across town, Charlotte's just arriving home. Now, again, this is a little different than the books. They do not live in some gothic mansion like Bruce Wayne overlooking Tourmaline. They live in what is essentially like a brownstone in downtown Tourmaline. So their house is elegant, but it's like a city house. It's very long and narrow, and it is definitely not a gothic mansion. I want us all to appreciate how Devlin looks throughout the series, because I genuinely thought these clothes I put him in were cool. When we get to the masquerade episode, like, you guys are not ready for that. Anyway, Charlotte's like, can you not smoke in the house, please? And Devlin's like, where have you been all afternoon? And she's like, I did what you told me to do, and I invited them to my party, and it's all set. They're coming. And they kind of quarrel a little bit, like brother and sister, back and forth. And Charlotte's like, why are we doing this? It's been 2 years. Like, let it go. And Devlin freaks out. And he just loses his mind on her, and he's just screaming at her. And she says, please, please stop screaming. And she's like got PTSD from her dad. And now Devlin, who looks just like his dad, is screaming in her face. And he's like, no, I'm not going to stop. I spent 2 years in exile with our stupid father, and I am not, just going to let this go. Like, means everything to me, and I'm back for revenge. In fact, he says, I won't stop. I spent 2 years in exile because of him, and I won't rest until the score has been settled, until blood has been shed. Then Charlotte just dissolves into tears, as she's wont to do, and Devlin finally realizes that he's being a jerk, and he's just like, oh, are you okay? I'm so sorry. Naturally, she's like, get away from me, you psycho. And then it says Devlin realizes, he's like, how can I do this to her? She's the only person in the world who loves me. He throws his cigarette in the sink and grabs her and apologizes. He thanks her for helping him, and she slows her tears, and they just hold each other in the kitchen, realizing that they truly are all the other one has. They only have each other. Back at Blake and Tyler's, Nina and Tyler make dinner together, and they're just hanging out and having fun. But Nina's understandably upset. Blake's been acting super weird lately. He's been drinking a lot. He just left the pub the other night without saying goodbye. So while Tyler's cleaning up after dinner, Nina's just having a little think. She's starting to wonder if he's cheating on her. And then who should show up but Blake? And he asks, hey, Nina, what are you doing here? She's mad. She's like, what do you mean, what am I doing here? We had plans. And he's like, oh, was that today? And Tyler's like, I'm out of here. And Nina starts laying into Blake. She's like, what is your problem? You've been acting so weird. You've been drinking so much. And she's like, it just feels like you don't even care about me sometimes. And he fires back, do you hear yourself? He's like, Nina, of course I care about you. I have so much schoolwork to do. Don't you know how busy this is? It's my last year of university. Like, I have a lot going on. Can't you cut me some slack? And she's like, I have been. And he's like, oh, yeah, you have. And you've been great. Listen, I'm sorry, okay? And then he's like, I love you. And she's like, okay, I guess I love you too. And then he gives her a kiss and he apologizes for not replying to her text. He says his phone is dead. He knows he needs a new one. His battery's garbage. And everything's all fine. But then he's like, night, I'm going to bed. And Nina's like, wait, you just got here. What? She's like, there is something going on with him. I just do not know what it is. Meanwhile, he goes and has a shower and it's captioned just, Blake couldn't take much more of this. And he starts having an existential crisis. He does love Nina and being with her is familiar and safe, but something's missing. There's some spark, some fire that's just not there, and he doesn't know how to get that or if he ever had it with her. And he's really questioning their relationship and if he wants to stay with her or not. Now it's Halloween, and here's a beautiful shot of downtown Tourmaline, which was not Tourmaline, it was Mayside? I don't know if I've mentioned the name of these towns yet, but I'm pretty sure it was Mayside and Pinewood, which got changed to Tourmaline and Evergreen, which are way better. So Harlow and Nina arrive at the club, which is called Bar, and they are wearing their outfits that they picked out with Charlotte. And Harlow's like, I was feeling sorry for her, but is it a good idea that we're all coming to this party? And Nina's like, whatever, let's just make the most of it and see what happens. Nina and Harlow were the last to arrive to the party, and when they get there, Blake's already there drinking. But Nina doesn't see him. She misses him because he's just sort of squirreled away on a couch over there, and it's a club, so she's looking around. She doesn't notice him. Check out this club, you guys. Pretty great. I'm sorry, but Charlotte Ainsworth is such a pretty sim, and if you don't think so, like, you're wrong. Sorry. She's like, come on. By the way, if anyone still plays The Sims 2 and wants to download these Sims, I just found the files for them, so the Sims 2 packs. Let me know, I'll send them to you. Nina spots Charlotte and she runs over to see her. The girls compliment each other, and then Charlotte's like, please just have a good night, and everybody goes to the dance floor and they're all dancing, and look at Leaf having a good time. Actually, Tyler too, like what's that little booty action he's got going on? And if you're an eagle-eyed viewer, who's that in the background? Then we have this situation, which in the book was a lot cooler. He's wearing a hoodie and a surgical mask, but no. In the Sims version, he looks like a villain from a silent movie. Great disguise, Devlin. Then Tyler goes over to the bar. He sees a pretty girl, tries to introduce himself, but we all know who this is, and she's not interested. He's a little disappointed, but he still pursues it. He's like, oh, well, I'm Tyler, and it's nice to meet you. And then to herself, she says, can I never go out anywhere without getting hit on by some imbecile? And she leaves. And then we run into the first instance of this in the story, which happens a lot. Tyler says, well, can't I just get your number? And she says, no! People scream no in all caps a lot in this story. And then it says, what a weird girl, Tyler said to himself sadly, and then saw an even sadder picture in the corner. His brother drinking alone. Tyler goes over and he's just like, hey, what's up? And Blake is drunk and miserable and it's like, go away. So Charlotte goes over to Devlin and she's like, okay, everybody's here. It's all set. Like, what do you need me to do next? And Devlin says, where's Nina? This makes more sense in the book because it was 4 years and not 2. But anyway, Charlotte points her out and she's like, that's Nina right there, but she doesn't have her glasses on, so you probably don't recognize her. Okay, Clark Kent. And he truly doesn't. He's like, that's Nina? She's changed a lot in the last 2 years. How could she have changed that much? She was 19, now she's 21. And Charlotte's like, yeah, that's Nina. She probably just looks different because she doesn't have her glasses on and she has makeup on. Because again, Nina's like a tomboy, doesn't wear makeup and, whatever. So I guess this completely transforms her and he just cannot recognize her. Then Devlin gets an idea. Later that evening, everyone's pretty drunk. And Nina's like, I gotta go to the bathroom. But then she finally sees Blake, who this whole time has been sitting on the couch drinking alone. Understandably, she's mad. And she goes over to him and she's like, what are you doing? Like, you've been here the whole time? And I wrote this out like he's drunk. Like, I'm not gonna read it how I wrote it, but he's slurring and he's just like, I don't have an answer for you. I don't think a human can phonetically say what I typed. And she's like, how drunk are you? And he loses it on her. He's like, you don't understand. And she's like, I actually don't. So, what is going on? And she says, do you even want to be in a relationship with me anymore? And he's like, no, maybe I don't. And she is just like, you're drunk. You are being a dick and you're drunk and you need to go home and get out of my face. And then it says she felt tears start to pour out of her eyes. So she ran to the bathroom while Blake is like, maybe I am a little bit drunk. I don't know, maybe I'll go home. She managed to make it to the bathroom before her meltdown hit its peak, even though tears were already pouring from her eyes. And then she cried, even though tears were already pouring from her eyes. Devlin's like, oh, where'd she go? And he goes looking for her. By pure coincidence, they bump into each other as she's coming out of the bathroom, and because of his really good disguise, she doesn't know who he is. The masked stranger is like, are you okay? What's going on? Are you crying? And Nina's like, no, don't worry about me. I'll be fine. And then Devlin lays this one on her. Oh, well, I hope so, he said. It's a shame to see someone as beautiful as you with tears on their cheeks. He lifted his hand to wipe a stray away with his thumb. And she's like, oh. I thought I got them all. Thank you. Do I know you? And he's like, I would remember a face like that. I don't think we know each other. See you around. And somehow, this tiny little interaction with a stranger has made Nina completely forget about her troubles with Blake. And she's just like, oh, what a handsome guy, I think. He's got that really great disguise on, so I don't really know. But from what I could see, I'm attracted. She goes back to the party to find her friends, but then the music stopped. The lights went out. The crowd fell silent. Just before anyone could ask what was going on, a gunshot rang out. The crowd screamed. The lights came on. Nina screamed, "No!" Leaf lay lifeless on the ground, blood pouring from his chest. The end. Now we're kind of getting into familiar territory with the story. That's episode 2 of the Sims version of Intense Feelings. I'm trying to post more regularly. I really want to get my YouTube channel going, and it would mean a lot if you would subscribe and continue watching my videos. And if you are enjoying what you're seeing, leave some comments and let me know what else you'd like to see on this channel. I'm more than happy to do other content. I'm thinking of doing some deep dives into how I plot out my books and my writing process. I just don't know what you guys really are interested in seeing. If it's more the history stuff right now and The Sims, or if it's a mixture, or if you want me to focus more on upcoming projects. I'm happy to do a video on Endless Desire and what I can tell you about the book right now. Just let me know in the comments what you think. And of course, commenting really helps me out, and liking and subscribing and all that. So I just thank you so much for watching, and I hope you'll tune in for the next episode, because I don't remember what happens in it, at all. Maybe I do. I'll see you next time. Bye.